its FEC meeting decided that Baba Jamal was going to be its candidate for the Ayawaso East by-election. Now, before that statement, the majority caucus in Parliament had issued a statement calling on their party, the NDC, to annul the elections and prevent or bar those found to have been engaged in vote buying from participating in a rerun. First, let me say we've been joined by Suleiman Abraham, who's Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, and Franklin Cudjoe, founder and President of Imani Africa. Franklin, good morning, and good morning to you also, Suleiman. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, before we find out what you make of, the NDC's decision, let's just listen to Baba Jamal after he was confronted by the media on the allegations of vote buying.
So, if you give television sets to people, what is wrong with it when you gift things to people? Is this the first time I'm gifting things to people? Those of you who know me know that every Christmas, every occasion, every instant, I have put down 2.5 million to give free loans to people. So if today you are giving, people are coming to vote and you are giving them something, it's not buying food. I speak. If you have listened to me carefully, I say, look, if somebody gives you gifts, you can take it. But allowing that gift to influence your vote is what is wrong. It's not a gift. It's allowing that gift to influence your vote. Then it's wrong.
Okay, so that was Baba Jamal on Saturday. He says there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a gift. Allowing the gift to influence your vote is what is the problem. Well, the NDC, after it condemned the vote buying, set up a 3-member committee to investigate and make recommendations. The majority in Parliament also said, look, annul the election, run a fresh election. Those found to have been engaged in vote buying, don't let them take part. Let me start off with you, Franklin Cudjoe. Well, last night, the NDC says Baba Jamal will be the party's candidate in Ayawaso East by-election, citing time constraints, the fact that the closing date for the filing of nominations today, the party's constitution not very clear on the provisions and legal constraints. Does that sound convincing?
Well, good morning, my good brother. Good morning, Sule. I see this as some sort of comedy of errors, really. First of all, we were made to believe that the swift actions that were taken were in proper order. And I was happy because I thought that, for one, we were going to start, if you like, should I call it, probably unwinding, if that's a good word, or probably just begin the conversation about monetization of our democracy. And to think that a party like this would have had the moral high ground to go further beyond issuing statements was all that I was involved with some happiness, because I thought clearly we were going to nail it. And in fact, what would have happened would be that the other parties would naturally follow. But of course, it was cut short. The challenge I have with these comedy of errors COVID is the party knew that they were going to get us to this destination. What was the point in issuing those statements? But you understand, I never understood it. And for the majority side of Parliament, actually agreed with some of us in military to annul the elections. At the very least, they could have annulled the elections.
Well, but they make the point, Franklin, that closing date for the filing of nomination is today.
No, my brother. Even the EC abdicated its role. I mean, the EC is not just supposed to count and ballot. It's supposed to be ensuring that the ballot themselves are safely and cast in a way that it is not blemished. Unfortunately, they've abandoned most of their roles. So let's talk about the EC. And this election, they could have impressed on the EC to say, look, there are issues. So let's take out that. What if two of us, any of the candidates, unfortunately maybe passed? What would you say? Would you say that elections should go on So I think the estimating circumstances that we can arrest some of these people. That explanation is untenable. I rather take them on their way. The first statement from the NDC, which was very bullish, we would not tolerate these things, and the majority followed. They didn't know that their rules had probably run counter to the final decision. I think, look, what really must have happened. Maybe Baba Jamal, I won't say that probably believe that the first person should cast a stone. That, of course, people have done this in the party before. So, who are they to say this thing? And so for me, Saleh, I feel quite let down because I thought that this was a very good opportunity. At the very least, just another elections, and then would have set some remedy would have been made. The other point I find quite concerning is that so the person must say, look, I'm a how do you call it? I'm a gift giver, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like to help people. I put 2.5 million to this aside every Christmas to help people. Oh, that's fine. But this is a different election. This is a different situation. This is an election. So you're inducing people, which we are now accepted that he's done. Then his lawyer goes to the USP and the last. He doesn't know who gifted the money. Gifted the piece of television station. This is what I call. This is one of the classic is the comedy of error. Why your lawyer is saying that, oh, you have no idea, you're totally accepted. As I said, at the very least, because but not just the bottom, others actually gifted as well, they must have just another election. And then probably ensure that those who took part in all of this probably are set aside some time. But anyway, I understand. There's going to be a huge leap. But this huge leap would have meant that, look, would have been saving our democracy from excessive monetization.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the NDC took us to the highest point, and then dropped us like a load of dead backs. But I hope that we learn and then move forward. Thank you.
Great. Let me bring in Suleiman Abrahima. Suleiman, are you also disappointed with the decision taken by the NDC?
Well, I don't know whether I should say that I am disappointed because I was actually not expecting anything different.
Oh, okay. Why?
I didn't believe that there was going to be anything different. Indeed, an annulment I didn't believe was going to happen. Because, yes, I agree it's a problem. The money in our politics is a problem. It has been an issue that has been on the table for quite some years now. It is one of the things that we have to really look at in order to save our democracy. So what for me was gratifying was the fact that at least it was raised as a concern. But quite obviously, everything pointed to the fact that maybe people in the party, people with power in the party, wanted someone to win. We had some sections of the majority members in Parliament making a donation to the wife of the late MP. And everyone pointed to the fact that, look, perhaps many people want the lady to win. And so when these things happened, I thought that, or I said to myself, well, it's just because things didn't go the way that people wanted it to go. And I'm not surprised because, look, the people who were issuing statements, they know very well that in our politics today, money is the thing. The MPs who issued the statement, and I made a post saying, well, it's good to know that we have MPs in Ghana who went for their primaries in a clean manner without any inducement to delegates. Because they themselves know that they do the same thing, or they did the same thing to get to Parliament. And I'm happy that yesterday, the secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete, alluded to that. That this is something we all know it happens. So, of course, the fact that it happens does not mean we must continue to tolerate it. We must continue to countenance it. But the way this thing happened, there was no way there was going to be a change. But for me, again, what is gratifying is that, well, the party says because of timelines, because of legal issues, because the party constitution does not make provision for an annulment, well, they have no choice but to let Honorable Baba Jamal continue as the party's candidate. What it therefore means is that it provides an opportunity for close monitoring, for close assessment in everything relating to whether parliamentary primaries, presidential primaries, national executive officer elections, regional executive officer elections, and district level executive officers elections, which I think the NDC recently rolled out a calendar for it to happen. It presents an opportunity for us as Ghanaians, as advocates and activists, to closely monitor what will happen and to bring any perpetrators of money in politics to the attention of the leadership of the party to see whether they will take action or not. And I think that could be a very useful beginning in tackling this whole phenomenon of money in politics. It's not just the NDC, the NPP, it also happens.
But Suleiman, shouldn't the party, shouldn't the NDC shouldn't they have looked at their own laws before setting up a committee to find out what the provisions of their party's constitution says when it comes to these issues, before setting up a committee, issuing statements, getting many to believe that finally a major political party in Ghana was taking steps to deal with vote buying?
Well, that's part of the reasons why, as I said from the beginning, I knew nothing was going to change. The status quo in terms of the electoral outcome was going to remain. It is either it was something basically to do some PR for the party. We had parliamentary leadership issued a statement talking about the reset agenda and so on and so forth, when they themselves know that during their own primaries, they did the same things or the same things happened. So quite clearly, as I said, it was a case of many people who thought that, we wanted the wife of the late MP to win. How come it didn't happen that way? Let's do everything possible to see if we can get the lady to be the one elected. And as a result, a lot of reactionary things happened without reflection. And that is what happened. So statements are issued without regard to whatever the party's constitution says. Statements are issued without consideration for whatever the timelines for filing would be. Statements are issued without consideration for when the EC has set out as the time or date for the election. So completely reactionary, no reflections, and certainly there was nothing that was going to change beyond trying to, pretend to Ghanaians that we care about the money in politics. The same people, 2019, Honorable Sosu, my brother in Parliament, was clear. Said, I spent about 300,000, in the primaries. There are other people who said they even spent more. Some were crying that they spent and even lost. So it's a phenomenon we shouldn't pretend. I think the bigger problem is the pretension and the hypocrisy. We must be honest with ourselves that we all do it. And yes, we know it is wrong. Let us see how we resolve it, rather than sit somewhere and pretend that somebody is doing something wrong. Meanwhile, you did the same thing.
Great. Finally, Franklin Cudjoe, you guys on your Facebook page say, Charlie, the NDC make a shy pa. All the swift, powerful statements and actions disapproving the brazenly naked marketing of votes we all witnessed in Ayawaso East meant nothing. Anyways, they have 7 more red cards left in my anger box. They have drawn 3 already. Which are the 3 they've drawn, and what are the 10 red cards that you have in your anger box?
Well, before we get there, let me just say that it is important to also state that, look, this situation affords us the opportunity to ensure that we reform the delegate system, both NPP and DC. Because this whole thing doesn't make sense. There's a few people asked to be delegates, and then they become overly rich overnight, not through inducement. it doesn't make sense at all. So we encourage the parties to ensure that they reform significantly. I've also got to say, this whole phenomenon of what do you call it, the wives, widows succeeding there. I don't understand this whole phenomenon. Anyway, let me not get into other choppy water. But I find it a bit strange, though. I don't know. Maybe we can have some conversations about that later. Look, about my quiver, my quiver handgun boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, quite a few of them passed quite unnoticed, but it bothered on some issues around environmental degradation, which was obviously a red flag for me. And then, as I said, there are other 7 that are lying in wait. I'm careful how I draw my daggers, but they should be careful they don't get the other side of me. Okay. I think it is important that we how do you call it? We safeguard some of the very good things that the NDC has started. As I said, the little things matter. You know, the president going to say, let's have a conversation on cocoa. Cocoa is a big issue now. He's calling a cabinet meeting to deal with it. These are good things. The president extending, how to call it, felicitations to people who otherwise would never really have gotten close to the presidency. These are all good signs. But please, governance is a serious business. And don't ever again raise our hopes, expectations, both parties and parliamentarians in parliament, and then just drop us down like that. It sends the wrong signal.
Thank you very much, Franklin Cudjoe, and thank you also, Suleiman Abrahama, for joining us. We're grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great. So that's Franklin Cudjoe and Suleiman Abrahama joining us here on the Super Morning Show. Cudjoe Agotubuating, were you also hoping that something drastic would happen, and that's disappointed?
Suleiman and Franklin combined. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Charlie, but I thought we were resetting the system, and the reset would begin from the party which won the election and is in government now. Whatever the reasons and whatever the considerations that the NDC looked at, I really think that they've dropped the ball on this. This would have set a good precedence for NDC to, as a party, to tell Ghanaians they are really serious about corruption, because this is all part of the corruption conversation, right? But now, Fifi Kwete says they all did it. And so Baba Jamal should go ahead and be the candidate. But I hope post the elections they will sit and have a conversation about this again and do the right thing.
Well, they say they've set up a 7-member committee to advise on what to do. But this is it for me, okay? Political parties should learn something. Sometimes it's good to get in there, hear people making comments and just jump into it and say, because people are criticizing this, yes, we're against it. How many of those people in that committee meeting had the moral high grounds to take Baba Jamal on? How many of them have the moral? And for a party like the NDC, their founder, former President Jerry John Rawlings, always would say, you need to have the moral high ground.
So thief man cannot catch thief man.
I'm making a point.
Okay.
How many of them had the moral high ground to say, no, Baba Jamal, this is bad?
Mm-hmm.
So, I can understand where Suleimana is coming from.
Yeah.
This is a problem. Deal with it. But in dealing with it, do not jump into pretense, because all of a sudden this is. Charlie, at the end of the day, political parties, the only reason they organize primaries and all of those things is to, in their own words, galvanize the base. Galvanizing the base, Cudjoe, is not anything but giving the base funds. And those funds will come from the aspirants. That's it. Nobody says, let us not deal with it. Now, let's begin to take steps to deal with this. I'm happy they've set up a committee, but sometimes populism has a limit to which it can go. And political parties should learn from this.